Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good today. Just heading to St. Louis right now. I fished the Bass Open last week, got home Saturday, drove to St. Louis to drop my boat off to get it wrapped, almost a 4-hour drive on Sunday night, and now I'm going up this morning. It's Wednesday morning. I'm heading back up to get my boat. The wrap's all finished up and got to get everything packed up, and I'm leaving for Lake Hartwell to our next Bassmaster Open on Friday. So super busy week in between working for Fish the Moment. Just lots going on right now, taking care of kids, everything. But hey, what I wanted to talk a little bit today is I want to share with you the 3 biggest mistakes that anglers make when they fish jerkbaits. And before I get into this, I want to sort of let you guys know about something we're doing with Fish the Moment. On October 8th, I'm going to be giving a 3-hour advanced jerkbait fishing virtual seminar with Johnny Schultz on the Fish the Moment website. And this is going to be probably the most comprehensive advanced jerkbait lesson that has ever been taught anywhere. It's going to be a 3-hour course. Like I said, Johnny's going to be moderating the event. I'm going to be teaching it, and we're going to dive into all the details of the specifics of jerkbait fishing, with a lot of emphasis on areas you need to look for, and just a lot of specifics that go well beyond which you can read about or gain anywhere else. So anyway, if you're interested, go on the Fish the Moment website and you can sign up for the seminar there. We're limiting this to only 30 people, so if you want to get in on it, you need to probably get on pretty quick and reserve your spot, because we're only taking 30 people. Because in this particular seminar, there's going to be interaction. You'll be able to ask questions, have some feedback in it. So it's going to be a really good deal. But anyway, today what I want to do is I want to share with you. I'm going to give you sort of like a little teaser, a little bit prior to the virtual seminar that I'm going to do on it, on jerkbait mistakes. And like I said, if you all have followed me much, I do instructional jerkbait fishing trips. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite technique, one of my top 2 favorite techniques. Grew up doing it here in the Missouri Ozarks. I've been involved with the evolution of the jerkbait, helped Megabass design them, I'm sort of getting to that point where I'm sharing some of this information with you, because the thing about jerkbait fishing, like I've always said, it's the most difficult technique that there is to master by far. There's no other technique out there that has the amount of controlled and uncontrolled variables that jerkbait fishing does. So there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of information to absorb and share with it. But anyway, just 3 of the biggest mistakes. First mistake that I see a lot of anglers making, and these are even good anglers too, these are even pro anglers can make these mistakes. The first mistake I see is that people, they use too heavy of line with the jerkbaits. And for the most part, in talking to the people and seeing people fish jerkbaits, a lot of them use a standard 6.5, 7-foot rod, 10 to 12 pound test line for most of their jerkbait fish, and even in the winter time. And we'll go then to this more in the seminar, but I just wanted to tell everybody this is not the setup that you need to use. One of the big keys on catching fish with jerkbaits, and here again I'm talking about, in this particular situation, I'm talking about the typical colder water suspended bass jerkbait fishing. I'm not talking about fishing it fast for smallmouth up north, or fishing it over shallow grass beds or around objects. I'm talking about the traditional suspended jerkbait fishing, where you have to sort of finesse the fish into biting in colder water temperatures. The big key and why you want to use lighter line is there's 2 factors on it. First of all, it allows the bait to get deeper, which is key, because most all the big fish that you're going to catch on a jerkbait are going to come at its deepest point. And number two, it allows you to get better action out of the bait. The action that you get on a jerkbait, and like I said, I use all megabass jerkbaits. I don't use anything. Let me rephrase that. Maybe 1 or 2 days out of the year, I've got some old, out of production Smithwick Rogues that I use once in a while. There's something about the profile and size of that bait that under certain conditions the fish really like them, but 99% of the time I'm using all the megabass jerkbaits. But the action that you get out of a jerkbait on 6 or 8 pound test line is completely different than if you go to 10 to 12 pound test. And for the most part, I'm using 6 to 8 pound test all year long for suspended jerkbait fishing. So we'll get into that more in the seminar. There's a lot to that. There's a lot of details to that, but that's one of the biggest mistakes. Anglers use too heavy line. The second mistake that I see most anglers making with jerkbait fishing is that they don't understand color, because jerkbaits there's not another bait out there that is more color sensitive, that has the biggest aspect or impact on generating strikes regarding color as jerkbaits do. Because for the most part, jerkbaits are a sight oriented bait for the bass. In other words, it's, you can attract the bass through the noise of the bait a little bit, through some of the rattles, the bouncers, the hooks bouncing off the side of the bait. It'll get their attention. But for the most part, the bass bite a jerkbait on sight, because you're fishing it in cleaner water a lot of times. They get up and they track the bait and they study it, particularly if you're fishing the bait slow. So therefore, the color on the jerkbait is extremely critical. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about colors. Most people get locked in to they've got 2 or 3 go-to colors that they use all the time. I'll use, for example, like the algae bone in megabass. That's probably one of those popular colors out there, algae bone and pro blue. And for a lot of people, that's just the only thing they use. That's if they use that, and if they don't get a bite on it, they just think they're not biting jerkbaits. But colors, the thing that you have to remember about colors is, do not get a favorite color in your mind. That's the number one thing. Do not get biased or locked into color, because color and the colors that the bass want change constantly. It changes during the day. There's a lot of different factors that add up to that. It's the sunlight penetration in the water. It's the water clarity. It's the wind. It's the sky conditions. It's the time of day. It's the angle of the sun. Just tons and tons of different variables that we'll get into. And each one of those changes, a lot of times, requires you to make a color change. And there's some key elements that I'll share with people later on in the seminar. We're also going to offer, we're going to do a lot of jerkbait courses on Fish the Moment, so there's going to be a lot of information coming out on this. But there's a lot of key factors that go into how to choose the correct color for the situation that you're fishing that we're going to share later. But number 2, the biggest mistake I see is people getting locked into colors, or they don't understand the colors that generate strikes. And the third one I'll talk about briefly is Cadence and Retreat. One of the almost equal to color in jerkbait fishing is how you retrieve the bait, because the cadence and the speed that you fish the bait have a lot to do with matching it to the personality and the mood of the bass, to what is going to generate the strike. And for the most part, I see people, it's sort of like with colors. People get locked into 1 or 2 colors, and they also get locked into 1 or 2 type of cadences. Most of the people, they cast it out there, reel it down, they do a jerk, jerk, pause, jerk, jerk, pause. And that's just all they do. They don't experiment beyond that. And again, if they catch a few fish on it, fine. If they're not getting bit on it, they just say, well, they're not biting the jerkbait very good, and I'll just put it down. But there are an unlimited amount of cadences and retrieves that you can use on a jerkbait. And that's another thing we're going to talk about in the seminar that I'm going to teach, is how to understand what type of cadence to use, how to understand the length of your twitches, the length of your pauses, how far you need to pull the bait under the water, whether you need to do a hard twitch, a soft twitch, a pull, a steady reel. There's a lot of different variables that go into that we're going to cover also in the seminar. But the thing about that is all three of those elements that I'm talking about, those are just three. There's many, many more that generate that. But in order to be really good and to get the most out of your jerkbaits, you have to hit on the right cadence, you have to hit on the right line size, which is depth attainment, and everything has got to come together perfectly along with the right color in order to generate that strike. So anyway, just a few teasers here that we're going to talk about. Like I said, get on the Fish the Moment website, sign up for the virtual seminar. It's going to be from 6 to 9 o'clock, October 8th, coming up. Limited to 30 people. It's going to fill up fast, so get in there now if you're interested. And like I said, we're going to be doing more of these throughout the fall time of the year, because there's so much to cover in jerkbait fishing. You got profiles, you got different areas that you need to fish with it. When to use what, under what conditions. Everything that comes along with this is another aspect of why it's the most difficult technique out there to master. But once you do master it, and once you become good at it, it is one of the most fun and effective ways to catch bass all over the country that it is. And you can modify techniques based upon the area that you fish. There's not a state in the country that they don't work in. I've caught them coast to coast on jerkbaits. I've caught them from Canada down to Florida, everywhere on jerkbaits. They'll bite them anywhere. And like I said, I got almost 50 years of experience with these things, and a lot of information to cover, and we're going to be covering it on Fish the Moment through the educational avenues we have on that channel. So anyway, hope everybody's doing good. I'm going to head up here and get the boat and get everything packed, ready for Sam Rayburn. Last tournament, I covered a little bit. I was in second place in the open points. I dropped to fifth, so I'm still in the top 5 in the points. Need to get back on it and move up in this particular tournament. And once I get the boat back, I'll send some pics of the boat and everything, let you guys check it out. And again, appreciate you following me. I really do, guys. Just can't tell you how much that I appreciate the comments and the kind words and the support. And as far as content, anything you guys want to hear me talk about, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message. I'll be glad to do it. And we'll check in with y'all later. See you soon.